Good afternoon from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. This is the capital city of the Republic of Kenya in East Africa. Good afternoon and good morning in the United States of America. We are very, very honored to host His Excellency, the Acting President of the people of Amazonia. As you know, our television station has been at the forefront for the last 2 years, engaging itself, talking about the peace process and talking about the self-determination of the people of Amazonia. Resolution 1608 of the United Nations General Assembly was very clear. In 1961, the United Nations agreed that these two countries, these two people, the English-speaking people and the French-speaking people, they could not be in the same place. There was need for a separation. A United Nations vote under Resolution 1608 gave the mandate to the people of Amazonia to have self-determination, to look for their sovereignty, which is being trampled upon by one President Paul Biya. We have been looking at Africa, how Africa has been changing from one position to the other through the French hegemony. The French policy on African continent has produced quite a lot of dramatic and very awful, dangerous conflicts on the continent. If you look at all the French territories, almost 3/4 of them have conflicts, armed conflicts, civil strife, civil wars, all coming from the French foreign policy that has never changed, modernized itself. It has brought the people of Amazonia to where they are today. This television station, therefore, looks at Pan-African perspective, Matanga Africa perspective. I go on sampling African countries that have a conflict, crisis, that need freedom. Gabon, Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. You saw how the French French foreign policy took Babgo to The Hague. You have seen how the French have dismembered the Democratic Republic of Congo. You have seen what is happening in Cameroon. The people of Cameroon have been yearning, the Amazonian people have been yearning for that freedom. Their telephones are cut off, internet is cut off, money is not reaching their people, courts are closed, schools are closed, hospitals are closed. Their human rights have been trampled on. Our television does not hide and does not cloak, does not even say anything less than the truth. Human rights abuses by President Paul Biya has become a daily basis of torturing the young generation, the old generation, the women, raping women, killing children is the day as days go by in Amazonia. The French hegemony using Paul Biya has never relented on the massacres. The number of refugees that are in Nigeria, the number of refugees fleeing who are stopped from fleeing from persecution is increasing day and night. Therefore, this afternoon, we would like to interview the acting president of the people of Amazonia, himself right from New York, himself a fighter, a democratic fighter, a man who is not using violence, but he's only saying, please give us freedom, give us our liberty, give us our rights. Give the people of Amazonia their rights. Your Excellency, Acting President of the people of Amazonia, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to my show, and I will be shooting questions from all angles, and they will be coming at a rapid, in order the people, the viewers worldwide, the people, international community. This television is watched worldwide. In London, I've already, linked in with Scotland, Patricia Scotland, as the Commonwealth Secretary General. I've linked in with the AU in Addis Ababa for them to listen and watch you. It is not simple. We have linked them. We have asked the AU chairperson to watch you, to tell us your policy, where you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to do for the people of Amazonia. We have struggled this much far with you. We did not know you, but here you are on the screen. Good morning, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Masanga.
Yes.
You have the true spirit of an African liberator.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry that since I took office, I've not been able to get in touch directly with you.
Yes.
Because I was in trenches. I took over in the midst of an escalating crisis. And I had a lot of things to put together. Even up to now, I sleep barely a few hours a day. So we appreciate you, and we hope that we have many like you on our continent.
Thank you.
So that the decolonization, which is the bedrock of the African Charter for Human Rights, should be pursued to the finishing point. There should not be any colonized people in the continent of Africa at this time in the 21st century. Thank you for this crusade. Thank you for your efforts. I'm here for you, and I'm here to answer questions that the people of the world may want to ask the leader of the nation of the Federal Republic of Amazonia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sako Ikome from United States of America, the acting interim president of the people of Amazonia. Many things, many people, the world wants to know. The struggle since 1961, Resolution 1608. What are the obstacles that have come in your way while struggling? Why is the UN very silent about the massacres that are taking place in Amazonia? Why?
We were a free people until, in fact, the first state structure we had was the Germans who established a colony. Let me start from there. I don't want to go too far behind to the British Victoria colony and so on. That is too far behind. But in current history, let's start with contemporary history. Let's start with Germans. We were a German colony. So we had nothing to do with the French. At no point have we been ever colonized by the Germans, by the French. So when the Germans lost the wars, the First and the Second War, we were First and Second World War. We were handed over to the United Nations. First of all, to the League of Nations that became the United Nations after the Second World War. So we were now given as a trust territory to be administered by the United Nations. And there was a trusteeship agreement between the United Nations and the trust administrator. In this case, the German colony of the Cameroon was separated into two. So between the French and the English that were the winners or the conquerors of that war. So we were just a United Nations protectorate or trust territory And that trusteeship agreement that was signed was instructed after the Second World War, instructed the trust administrators to prepare the territories under their care for self-government or independence.
Yes.
So when the French Cameroon attained independence in 1960, we were not part of their territory. And by August 1960, they became members of the United Nations. We were not part of their territory. We were still administered as a British trust territory. We were still under the British. When Nigeria obtained their independence in 1960, first October, we were not part of their territory. We were still a protectorate, a British, United Nations trust territory. So in 1961, something wrong happened. We were supposed to be prepared for independence because we had already attained self-government.
Yes.
We were the first country in sub-Saharan Africa, and let me say, because I don't know the rest, let me say among the first to have practiced democracy pre-1960, governing ourselves.
Yes.
Because from 1954, we had a free and fair democratic election where His Excellency E.M.L. Endeli was elected as president. And by 1959, there was a smooth alternation of power. The opposition was, election was organized by an incumbent pre-1960 in the British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. And an incumbent lost election to an opposition leader, and there was a smooth transition in 1959, and we had a new head of state, His Excellency Foncha. That is how far we were advanced before 1960 as a nation. And then when in 1961, instead of the British to prepare us for independence, by submitting our papers to the United Nations, because we already had attained self-government, there was a conspiracy that took place between the French and the English and the United Nations, so that they ignored their own trusteeship agreement, they ignored United Nations charter, they ignored their own resolutions. And what did they do? They gave us an option that did not make sense. The fear of the Russians, because at that point they were thinking that any territory that is loosely governed by the colonial masters will open the door for the
Russian Cold War
to come in. So they sacrificed us, they sacrificed our lives, our destinies, our interests, our everything, and instead of them to properly respect their own trusteeship agreement, respect the United Nations Charter and their own resolution, they ignored all these things, and they decided to just hand us over to the French Cameroon as a proxy to continue colonizing us. So in 1961, what did they do? Instead of giving us the option to become independent, they said, you have a choice. The British said, we don't want to continue to administer you. Nigeria is this side, was our colony. We have given them independence. And the French Cameroon have attained independence on 1st January 1960. So for you, you are going to decide to join either Nigeria or Cameroon. You are going to obtain independence by joining. I don't know what that meant. Independence by joining. And so they consulted us in a plebiscite, not a referendum. There is a difference between a referendum and a plebiscite. When you are dealing with a sovereign people, you don't give them a referendum when it comes to relationship with another nation, because a referendum is binding. The result of a referendum is illegal. The result of a plebiscite is a consultation of opinion, because there are other legal instruments and articles and processes that need to be followed after the opinion is sought. So they sought our opinion on the 11th of February, 1961, about which way we want to go.
Yes.
Do you want to attain independence by joining Nigeria, or you want to obtain independence by joining French Cameroon? And there was a vote, and after that vote, the results were that the people chose to join French Cameroon, and then the results were confirmed by the United Nations. Now, the confirmation of the result of a plebiscite is not a legal document. It's not a legal document, because when the results were confirmed in the United Nations on the 21st of April 1961, now they passed Resolution 1608, which was to explain or to detail the procedures, the processes that must be respected for that union to take place.
Yes.
Because this is the union between two nations. And according to our United Nations Charter 102, the two must sign a treaty of union. When two nations come together to become one, it is not just by consulting their opinions. There must be an article of union. So that resolution stated that an article of union must be signed. Number two, that the system of government between the two nations will be a federation. Number three, so that was the agreement, and that by the 1st of October, that everything must be done from that April up to the 1st of October to put all these things in place, and that when the Treaty of Union is being written, there must be the British or the trust masters, the trust administrators must be part of it. The United Nations must be part of it. And that there will be a constitutional conference that will also draft the constitution to ensure that it is a federal constitution between the two nations. Now, why we say this is a fraud? Because none of that was respected. Everything was completely disregarded. United Nations, that their own resolution was not respected by the trust administrator. So there was no proper constitutional conference. They were absent in the constitutional conference in Fumba. That was in July 1961. They were absent. So they allowed the French to come in. That's where the fraud and the deceit started.
Okay.
They compiled some nonsense piece of paper, and they said that's a constitution for these two nations, and they refused that there will be no treaty of union between us. That resolution was the resolution of independence, our independence, and that resolution was approved by 64 nations. You know, United States voted for our independence.
Yes.
So but unfortunately, Dr. Masanga, but by 1961, on the 1st of October, before the 1st of October, the worst thing happened. On the 30th of August, the president of French Cameroon came to Southern Cameroon, and the governor general of the British was supposed to hand over the nation to our leader and then go and then leave. That was the declaration of independence for us. That on that day, before 1st of October, which was supposed to be the legal date, yes, the meeting was at the airport in Tico in Southern Cameroon on the 30th of September. They took down the Union Jack and handed it over to the French Cameroon president, Ahidjo, instead of handing it over to our leader, His Excellency Foncha. That is very symbolic. It shows that we were handed over to French Cameroon, not giving us the independence which the trust agreement required them to do, and the United Nations required them to do. So from that moment, we became the possession. We became the colonized by black on black colonialism started. They colonized us via the French Cameroon, and we came under the yoke of the French. That is how deceit continued, assimilation continued, and the brainwashing continued, and ruthless repression and killing us to make sure that nobody will rise up to question this fraud.
Thank you very much, President Sako, Acting President Sako Ikome, for the brief history background. Viewers, if you want to join us on our Punchline Africa TV. The Facebook is very clear. Join us on Southern Cameroon Broadcasting Corporation TV. It's clear. It is broadcasting in over 110 countries in the whole world. People are watching. The person on the screen, I am interviewing the president, the acting president of the people of Amazonia. He has given us the background. Following that, your leaders were abducted. Your president was abducted. And many other people were abducted from Nigeria, taken out of Nigeria, up to date. As we speak, as we go to press, as I ask you these questions, the whereabouts of this gentleman, not known. There is no communication. The international community has watched and listened, agreed to the lies of President Paul Biya, and kept these people incommunicado. Their wives, their children, their families are not seeing them. Their compatriots like you in the struggle are not seeing them. The world is keeping quiet. And yet in Africa, most of the African countries, simple things, the Human Rights Watch come and write. The BBC is always there. CNN are always fighting for very small things against Africa, but they have not fought for this. How far have you gone as the acting president to make sure that there is a release of Mr. Your president who has been
people those respect those and our cabinet in Nigeria is a slap on the face of international law. Because how on earth can refugees, these are people who are either refugees or people with asylum status. They are protected under international law. They are protected by the United Nations. Even if they just only apply for protection as refugees or asylees, they are covered by international law.
Yes.
But these people were still abducted in Nigeria. And no one is able to hold the Nigerian government accountable. Then it did not end there. They flaunted also international law when they extradited they repatriated refugees, people seeking protection. Under international law, they were forcefully and illegally repatriated to La République du Cameroon, French Cameroon. There is no law because this conspiracy that started in 1961 is continuous. There is an international conspiracy that says Paul Biya, as far as the people of Southern Cameroon, Amazonia are concerned, you don't need to respect international law. Arrest their leader, abduct them, whether they have refugee status or not, abduct them, take them, there's no problem, nobody does anything. We were just told by the French 24 station, that they have been repatriated to French Cameroon. And then before the Minister of Miscommunication in La République, Issa Chiroma, before now he came 3 days after and said, we have the leaders of Amazonia. And that is it. They were kept incommunicado in Nigeria. They are still being kept incommunicado in in French Cameroon, and we don't know where.
Thank you very much. We also appeal through this medium, through this television, to the international community, the United Nations Human Rights Organizations, United Nations Human Rights Organizations, including the refugee human, agencies, to ask Paul Biya, where are these gentlemen? They have been kept incommunicado in some cells, danger cells in Cameroon. We would like to ask the African Union, can the Human Rights Organization of African Union, Security Council, Peace and Security Council, and the Human Rights go and ask Mr. Paul Biya? Following that question, Mr. President, Acting President, I would like to ask a similar question. Just last week, the Minister of Territorial annexing, let's call it the people who annex other people's territories. I don't regard them as a minister of anything. This minister toured, yes, he went on a tour in Amazonia. Things are getting worse day by day in Amazonia. But yet, the Cameroonian government of Paul Biya keeps on talking about one thing. And this thing is called dialogue. Dialogue. They are talking about dialogue. We also promote dialogue. Now, in your opinion, what is your view of the question of dialogue? Has it passed? Has it reached? Has it gone? Is it blown? Is it in hot air? Because you might not be able to dialogue with people who are cutting women, children's throats. People who are already slaughtering people on the ground. People who have cut you off from telephone conversation, from internet, from medical facilities, from transport. It is the worst type of apartheid that I have seen in Amazonia. Are you ready to dialogue?
Now, I know we speak different languages. They speak French, we speak English. So I don't know what they mean by dialogue. Because we don't have the word dialogue in our context. Dialogue does not take place between a free person and unfree person. There are two free people that can dialogue. If you're calling me to the table so that you want to whip me up, beat me down,
Yes.
and tell me what to do. That's not called dialogue. Dialogue should be a free conversation between two free people. So the way they call it dialogue is a ploy to continue colonizing us, to continue the falsehood, to continue. It's a smokescreen, because right now as we speak, they are still burning our octogenarians and septuagenarians who cannot walk, our patients who cannot walk freely. They are burning them in their houses, because more than 26 villages have been burned down in southern Cameroon by the colonial army of French Cameroon, supported by the French government. This is no exaggeration. If anybody listening to me now thinks that I'm not telling the truth, and you belong to Amnesty International or the United Nations system that promotes and protects human rights, just go on a mission to Amazonia and let that evil regime of Paul Biya give you the opportunity. We are a peace-loving people. Nobody will harm you. Go there and see for yourself. More than 26 villages have been burned down. They all who could not run before the fire, they have been burnt alive. They will show you the pictures. They will show you their ashes if they have not buried them. This is what is a kind of genocide that has what happened to Rwanda is going to be a joke if the truth of what is happening in British Southern Cameroon and Amazonia is revealed today. Now, how can the colonial minister of territorial administration, Atanga Njipor, how can he come to us and tell us that he wants to dialogue with us? They are killing our youth, everybody from the age of 16 and above, anybody who is able-bodied, anyone who lives around the outskirts of the cities and the villages is a terrorist as far as he speaks English. They have been ordered to shoot them aside. They are killing us in troves. If you are driving in some roads, only the stench of human decay,
smell, yes,
it will not allow you to move. This is what they are doing right now as we speak. All over, there are a lot of mass graves. And then this person is coming around. He hires a crowd that follows him. Most of them are military people who wear civilian dresses, follow him in motorcades, and then with cameras, telling people that he wants to dialogue. You want to dialogue with who? If you really want to dialogue, the people you want to dialogue with are in prison. They are, let's say some are in prison because many have been killed. Now, how do you dialogue? So we don't think they want dialogue. They have rejected dialogue, and they have only one tool in their box to erase us as a people, to kill us, to destroy the youth, especially that who are championing this resistance, to kill us, to gun everyone down, and to force everybody to submission. That is their mission. And now they say dialogue, they call that dialogue. They are on a mission to bribe and intimidate, identify and abduct the remaining vestiges of resistance on ground zero. That's what they call dialogue. Because if you want to dialogue, you will free the people who you're supposed to dialogue with. Nobody will be kept in prison for the reason that you want to dialogue. You want to dialogue with somebody for a reason that you have arrested him for. First of all, you have to release that person. If the subject matter of the dialogue is so genuine and legitimate, why should people remain in prison because of that issue? And then you say you want to dialogue on that issue. No. If the issue we raised was legitimate, they should be released and listen. Let the world hear us. This is our position.
Thank you.
Even if they are released,
yes,
we are not ready for dialogue because we have already declared our independence.
Yes.
We have restored, not declared. We have restored the independence we had in 1961. We have said, because there is no treaty of union between us for 56 years today, And because there is no good relationship between us, we have been subjected to torture and rape and systematic elimination for 56 years. We are not going to sign that Treaty of Union today. We have restored our independence, and we can only negotiate with the French Cameroon concerning our separation. That will be the purpose of our dialogue. Look, there is no way that we force the people of British Southern Cameroon to live together with the people of French Cameroon. We have never had a common political history. We have never had, forget about the story about cultural past and so on. This is a state culture. Our state cultures have never been the same. We have never been governed together as one nation. We have never been together as one people, as the politically, we have never had the same culture, the same history, no. So we are not going to remain slaves under this system because of the international conspiracy. It did not work in Gambia. It did not work between Burundi and Rwanda. It did not work in Soviet Union. It did not work with the Czechoslovakia. Don't bring people who have no common political and cultural systems as one and force them. It shall not work. It will only result to bloodshed. But I pray that the reason will prevail, and international consciences will be pricked, and the right thing shall be done. We are ready to negotiate about our separation.
Thank you very much. Following that question, I'm not giving you briefing space. I want us to go. That's why I'm leaving you to explain yourself to the international community, to the world, so that the people hear you exactly what is taking place. The question is, some countries that have asked for independence end up shaming us Pan-Africans who have struggled along with you. I don't know whether you are hearing. Are you with me?
Yes. Yeah,
some countries in Africa that have asked for independence, they end up embarrassing us Pan-African stations like us, especially myself, who fought for independence of South Sudan, for South Sudan to be liberated away from Khartoum. I am very embarrassed African today that when they took that independence, immediately they turned the guns on each other, black on black, South Sudan on South Sudanese. My question therefore, sir, acting president, the hope, the dawn of hope, the dawn of reparation is near. You are about to have it. Because there are very many people who are supporting you worldwide, who want you to have your independence, because you have been segregated, mutilated, eaten, maimed by Paul Biya. When you get that independence, sir, what will you assure the people of the world? That you will not turn into factions, internal factions, fighting over power, and therefore making the people of Amazonia regret why they even asked for it in the first place, like the case of South Sudan.
Now, the case of South Sudan is different from ours because we have not been one nation that is now trying to force a divide and separation. We have been a separate people who tried to join with another sovereign people, and now that experiment has failed. And so we should be recognized as easy as that if international laws are respected. Our declaration should be recognized because it is backed by a United Nations resolution.
Yes.
And is everything correct according to international laws?
Yes.
We have internationally recognized boundaries.
Yes.
So there is nothing to fight with La République de Cameroon.
Yes.
If our separation is confirmed by the United Nations, they will not go there they will not set up any commission to go and examine boundaries and begin to disagree on assets.
Yes.
Some of those problems that happen after separation is because in trying to draw the boundaries, there are further disagreements. That will not happen in our case.
Mr. President,
number two,
Mr. President, just my question is not you fighting Paul Robia government. I'm talking about finally the hope, what you have been waiting for will soon come. It is going to come. I am talking about internal politics of the Amazonian people. Because this is a question, several countries, and listen to me carefully. Recently I was in Zimbabwe, who watch this program every day. They asked me, you are fighting for the survival of the people of Amazonia. What happened to Sudan, South Sudan? The South Sudanese themselves turned on each other and ate each other. So my question is not you fighting Paul Robia. I am now, you have been given independence. It's going to come. Don't think it will not come. It is going to come. When Matanga touches something in Africa, it happens. It is going to come. When you get that independence, what guarantees to all international agencies watching, to all presidents in Africa who are watching now, and I believe President Museveni in Kampala is watching, President Uhuru in Kenya and the others are watching this program. What set of guarantees do you give that you will not turn guns on each other? Because there are several factions in this Amazonia.
Now, look at our history, which I started telling you.
Yes.
We see our political culture is clearly defined. That while countries were still under the yoke of colonization, we were already practicing good democracy that is even absent today in many African countries. In the 1950s, we were already practicing democracy, electing our government, and having a smooth transition between a governing party and an opposition party, having an incumbent lose election to an opposition party, and there is a smooth transition of power. It did not destabilize us. That's to tell you the long history and culture of democracy that we have and love that we have between our people. What unites us as a people in British Southern Cameroon is stronger than any act or any element of division that anyone can suggest. And that is our strength. That is why right from the diaspora where the government is now established, we are in control of more than 85% of the population of our people. We make the laws and they respect us right from the diaspora. This is something to tell you that as many as they are, as many tribes as they have not questioned which tribe I come from. They have not questioned whether I come from the east, from the north, from the south of the Amazonia. They have all agreed. There are many points of resistance and different names, but we have agreed 85 to 90% are taking instructions, submitting to the interim government that I had. There is virtually very few countries, even in the world, that have a government that is supported by 85% of its population. Now, this is what I am telling you, that if the international community will simply help us and allow us smoothly transition into our territory and establish ourselves as a government and govern our people, there will be no risk whatsoever of the South Sudan or scenario. Because when conflicts are entrenched, when you allow people to continue to fight for something that is free, and then interests begin to be separated. Look at the unity, the wonderful unity we have. If we take over our territory now, there is nothing that suggests that the unity will be destroyed, because we have yearned for this, our freedom, for 56 years. Nobody is ready to stand to embrace anyone who will do anything to take that dream away from us. Okay. And that is the strength of our unity.
Okay.
We are ready, whether it is at home or in the diaspora, anybody who will take that dream away from us will not be forgiven by the people. So our people are firmly united. They take orders from one direction. They are under one umbrella. And that is the way we will continue to govern our people, whether in the diaspora or in Boya. So there is not such British South Sudan or scenario. Okay. That is not our portion.
Thank you very much. That is a clarification, because many leaders, let me now bring in this, because there is one person from the Republic of Uganda who has just hit me a question here and says, Africans are watching this interview across the world. Them in Uganda are watching, and they have been watching, following the atrocities that have happened in Amazonia. You as the leader, acting leader, what do you want them to do for you? What do you want them to do for you, for your people? What else do you want the world to do? We have brought the issue to the world media. We have brought the issue to the United Nations. We have brought the issue to AU, EU, East of ECOWAS. There are people French. Oh, don't rely on Buhari, because Buhari is worse than even Biya. I am telling you, I know all this. I know French operators on this continent. That's why you see there's a lot of chaos here. Look at what is happening in Zuma, South Africa. They are bringing him on trial. Have you seen how French operate? So I am telling you, don't rely on Buhari. Buhari will never bring anything near you. So what do you want us and the people, the rest of Africans who like you, who want to see a situation restored, to do for you? This is from Kampala, Uganda, the name by Kasozi Mwanga.
Yes, I want to appeal to the people of Africa, the peace-loving and freedom-loving people of Africa. This may be different from the ruling class, who some of them find themselves in the same shoes with Paul Biya, and may not easily do certain things for us. But let the people of Africa know that they can support us by organizing themselves to bear pressure on their ruling class. Because the people are not doing some things, politicians don't do things just because as a matter of right and wrong. They do things when their interest is jeopardized or is in jeopardy. If the politicians don't think that not doing the right thing will have repercussions, they will continue to do the wrong things. I want to call on all the pressure groups and all the civil society organizations to bear pressure on the ruling class, on the leaders, so that whether they be parliamentarians, whether they be ministers of foreign affairs, whether they be ambassadors, whether they be presidents, so that let them just do the right thing. As when it comes to British Southern Cameroon, Amazonia, let them just do the right thing for us. In the United Nations, let them do the right thing. In African Union, let them do the right thing. Let them speak for us, because we are not represented officially in those forums. So we need a third party who will stand for what is right. We need some Mandelas who will stand on our behalf in the United Nations and present our resolution to be passed in the United Nations. That's the kind of help we need. We need financial support. We need people that can help us, because almost 100,000 of ours now are in another nation. They are refugees. We need help. We have almost 1 million now who are IDPs, internally displaced persons. They are living in forests because their villages have been burnt down. The interim government will need some help for us to see what we can do while we are containing some of this, while we are waiting for our breakthrough announcement that we are going to our capital city, our liberation is complete. So we need that help. We need people who are close to people in power to talk to them, to write on our behalf, to join hands with us. Even if we have written before, continue to write, continue to say the same thing. Our voices must not go faint. Let the good voices continue to resound and continue to say the same thing until the consciences of this international mafia will be pricked enough to just do the right thing. That is the help we need from you, my brothers and sisters.
Thank you very much. I'm not yet done with you. There are questions now coming from Africa, not from your people are saying, we have to ask you this question. The question of mortgaging resources to benefit the elites only, not the poor. People are worried that some agencies in like the struggle you are in, some countries come and tell you, we shall help you, but you give us this in return. Is your policy the same?
If we are one of the, because of when this is actually escalating, we are a very enlightened movement, because the wickedness of the colonizer forced millions of us to go out of the country. And we have had education. We have professionals. We have people who are highly enlightened. And we are the leaders of this movement. And so we cannot foolishly go into certain kinds of treaties, agreements with people. I know that is what Paul Biya is doing now. He's mortgaging our resources, going to World Bank, supported by the French, trying to mortgage our resources for loans, going to the Chinese, trying to mortgage our resources for loans. Listen, he is a drowning man, struggling to survive, struggling to keep his grip on a people who have said no. And our freedom is around the corner. But we will not come from one slavery into another slavery. We will not jump from the fry pan. In my language, they say you jump from the fry pan into the fire. We are not going to do that. We are being colonized. Our resources completely taken away from us, exploited without any benefit for 56 years. They have taken everything. We are not ready to sell the rest to some colonizer, some other colonizer who want to colonize us economically and take every little one that is remaining. We are going to enter into a gentleman agreement with anyone who really loves peace and who loves the freedom of our people. And we are going to make sure that our experts, our government, and our community will be able to examine any agreement we are entering into to make sure that it makes sense, that is for the interest of the people of Ambazonia first. So our motto is Ambazonia first. If we wanted to just go around getting money, signing papers, we would have already done that by now, and probably would have been maybe have had a lot of money to prosecute this our protest. But we have not done so not because people are not there, but we want a reasonable, intelligent, and gentleman kind of agreement.
Yes.
There are some people, some are of African descent, some are just the good people of the world. We are waiting for you. We need your help. You can also come and let's talk. This nation is legitimately ours. The resources are legitimately ours. Every law and the people are resolutely decided on our freedom. We just need your help.
Okay.
Not too long from now, we shall sing the freedoms.
Okay. As we speak now, the French radio or television station in Yaoundé has picked our acting president. They have picked right now our signal, and you are straight talking to them. I can see it coming here through my system. They have picked our signal and they're discussing they are viewing us. I want you to encourage Mr. Paul Biya to give you that freedom. Give you that freedom, give you the liberty, give you the freedom to decide on what to do. What can you tell him now?
I want to tell Mr. Biya and probably some good people that are around him, but I wonder how many. But let me say this. We came into this experience through political action. We came freely as gentlemen. We came with our sovereignty and put it on the table. We said we can experiment this thing and do the necessary, what was necessary for us to live together as one nation. We did not come through war. We were not conquered in a war. They did not kill our children. We did not kill their children. We did not burn their villages. They did not burn our villages for us to arrive at that gentleman decision. Today, we have resolutely decided as a people that this experiment has failed. We are taking back what rightfully belongs to us. We don't need to kill ourselves. We don't need to have about 15,000 soldiers armed to their teeth, parading our cities, our villages, killing us with impunity. We don't need to be killed like rats, like some of the administrators have called us, that we are rats, that we are dogs. We don't need this. If we came together by political action, then it is but normal that we can go our separate ways through political action. That is reasonable. That is human. They should stop the idea that if we came by through political action and we have decided to go through political action, it must only happen through a military action. We have suffered a lot, and we don't want to throw the whole of Cameroon into a complete bloodbath. If they refuse to give us our nation, then in the long term, I can promise them that they too will not have a nation.
Thank Mr. Acting President. We have a few minutes left, like 10 minutes. I want to split these 10 minutes. You have 5, and I have 5. In the 5 minutes, I would like you to address the fellow Amazonians, those in the diaspora, those who are yearning for that freedom, those on ground zero. And I use these 5 minutes to talk and explain what is happening on ground zero. The activities currently now. You have talked about them, burning of houses by President Biya's troops, stopping people from getting out of their homes to go. Any other actions that are taking place by Cameroonian army against Amazonia at the moment. I want you to take those 5 minutes, structure yourself, and tell the world, also agitate for the freedom of Mr. Sisiku, who is under incommunicado, under the French hegemony troops that are guarding these gold mines and oil dumps in Cameroon. I have said the background of all that. I know what is going on. And I have sent their investigative journalists who are going to do a deeper job to bring us many other things. Your 5 minutes, take to people, talk to your people. There are thousands and thousands who have sent emails, texts, posts on the wall. We can't say each and every name. Now, your time, Your Excellency, the acting president, sir, take it. Take it.
Yeah, I just want to talk to my people. I want to zero it down to those on ground zero, those at home, those in the forest, those who have no home at all, those in the refugees, and those who are running away for their lives. I want to tell you that you are still the peace-loving people. Don't be intimidated by the tactics that our colonizers are using. Don't be intimidated. They are framing you up, framing us up every time, organizing mock kidnaps, and using the cameras and recording lies. And Minister Chiroma, Colonial Minister Chiroma, goes around, parade those lies, arresting people, tourists that we love, tourists that because our nation is 1/3 of us are out of the country. We love the people of the world. We have enjoyed their hospitality. We cannot harm anyone, any stranger in our land. But these people are doing all this so that you can be tagged, or we can be tagged terrorists, that we kidnap people. We are just a bunch of criminals. Don't be intimidated. These are the desperate tactics of a drowning man. Paul Biya is drowning. And I want to tell the people who are supporting a drowning king, you will drown with them. It is better for you to be on the correct side of history. I want to talk to my people who are on ground zero, that freedom is coming very soon. That we will not die in this generation. We shall be in Goya to celebrate. Just hold firm. Don't be shy to support the struggle. Don't be shy to talk for the struggle. Some of those who are helping us in the diaspora, don't be confused by the Confucianists. Don't be confused by the tactics that are used by the French Cameroon to break us, and the French themselves. Their mafia is everywhere. They masterminded the arrest of our leaders in Nigeria. They masterminded their repatriation to Cameroon. They are doing everything to destabilize us. Don't be moved. Just be on the good side. You are a good people. You will not be what people, La Republique, try to describe you to be. We are a good people. We are peace-loving people. We are Christians in our numbers. We believe in the Bible. We believe in peace. We believe in good, in doing good and love. So continue a good fight. We will surely win. The good will always prevail over the evil. Those who are hesitating to join this struggle, don't join it when it will be too late. Because I want to assure you that this good fight we are fighting will end in our victory. And those we shall remember those who stood for us. Everyone in ground zero and everyone in the diaspora, commit yourself to support the interim government. Give us the means we need, because we have no option but victory. We cannot stop halfway. If we stop, then the rest of us will be wiped out. We will become a conquered people. Now we are like slaves, because we joined ourselves with the Republic through political action. Now they have decided to conquer us militarily, so that we will be a conquered people. I want to assure you that this will not happen if you will support the interim government. Give us the means that we need. Stand by us. Continue to be united. Tell the world we are matured and we are able and we are willing to govern ourselves. And this is correct in international law.
Thank you very much, my leader, our Pan-African friend, a friend of the people of the child of the people of Amazonia, the Pan-African friend. Our policy of Pan-Africanism is integration and the dream of Nkrumah that we still carry around. But there are situations that are beyond where integration becomes difficult. The question of Cameroon poses, or Amazonia poses, a great difficulty, in the sense that this was decided by the people of Amazonia and the UN General Assembly under Resolution 1608. The treatment that Amazonians have received under the Republic of Cameroon does not warrant a situation of dialogue. Because one side is using more force than the people that they are supposed to dialogue with. Those are the points that I have come, one of the points. Second point, it looks like there is no return point here. The train has left the station. The battering, the killing, the maiming, the torture, the rape of the people of Amazonia have made the people to take a decision that we are not coming back. Even if you ask them a question that in case Paul Biya left the scene, would you still remain in Cameroon? That's on a lighter note. Would you still remain if Paul Biya left? Would you still remain? I don't think they would. Because from the sentiments of the interim acting president, the situation has gone beyond repair. The killings, the murders, the roasting of people, live people, the burying of people in shallow graves while they are still alive. This is what is happening on the ground zero. So the question to Africa and the Pan-Africans and all people watching, what can we do in Africa to make sure that a situation of Amazonian scenario does not arise? We call upon the AU again, who are watching this show, to take in an effort to ask President Paul Biya, the AU Security and the Peace Committee must revisit the question of Amazonia and find out why people in Amazonia are being murdered, why genocide is taking place while we sing. We again call upon the International Criminal Court. The ICC runs to countries where there is not even much trouble. But the ICC has kept quiet on the question of Amazonia and Cameroon. Nobody has sanctioned or reprimanded Mr. Biya about his troops' actions in Amazonia. Why is the ICC quiet? The answer is very clear. It's because the French pay the ICC in order for ICC to survive. 70% of the money of paying the judges comes from France. So my brothers who are struggling in Amazonia, you better know that. That why ICC Fatou Bensouda, herself from Gambia, an African, and then why the AU chairperson has himself from Chad cannot come to real rescue, is because they are in the pockets of the French hegemony that has tortured, maimed, and destroyed this continent of Africa. Lastly, for those who have been watching this program, I would like to say to your leader, interim leader, acting president of the people of Amazonia, that you have done very well, and we look forward to having many of these discussions. Don't fear. You are not violently beating anybody. You are expressing your views. Don't fear to come to us. We shall look for every avenue to make sure that we expose, as we have been doing voluntarily, without knowing that we would one day interview you, without knowing that there is a cabinet in Amazonia. Now that we are assured to fight for the struggle of the release of Mr. Suzuki, who has been held incommunicado in his own territory, in a territory unknown. We don't know where he is. We shall continue to fight to tell world leaders that this must stop. Finally, there are many millions that have watched this show, and I cannot read all the messages that they have sent to me. I would like to give the leader a parting shot. Your parting shot. Mr. Sako, Ikome, your parting shot, Mr. President, for Pan-Africanism, for the struggle. When you talked about President Ahidjo of Cameroon, I grew up reading Mr. President Ahidjo of Cameroon. I think he used to have a heart on whenever he goes for Organization of African Unity conferences. My father used to carry me to those conferences in Nairobi and Addis Ababa at the tender age. He used to have a heart. I remember President Ahijo of Cameroon. The Cameroonians, wherever I've found them, have been very enterprising. I have lived with very many of them in London. I've also lived there for 30 years where I still live. And I want to thank you very much for being even one of your best lawyers in the world. Mr. Charles Taku. Mr. Charles Taku rescued me from the ICC, taking me to the gallows. And I'm very happy that a Cameroonian came to rescue a Ugandan whom we didn't know. That's why I'm also paying back. I'm struggling for Charles Taku and the rest of you. He's watching right from The Hague, where he's defending many other people in the world. He's called lawyer Charles Chief Taku. I think he comes from one of those clans. Ask him about me. Ask him about how I knocked down the mighty ICC, brought it down to knees. Today, I am looking for that justice. And now I've taken this case of Cameroon, of Amazonia, very personal, until I bring it the motion to the AU doorstep. Until I bring it to the AU doorstep, I will not rest. I want to give you a parting shot. You greet your people. And I want to thank Derek in South Africa and the rest. Our television has been captured by many television agencies, including the Cameroon. I've just seen Cameroon television station actually saying what exactly we are doing here. Thank you very much, Derek, for all what you have done for me, for us, for our as an organization. So your parting shot, sir.
Yeah, I thank you. And I will continue to come around and make sure that we make a tag team. When evil increases, the voices of freedom should be louder. When the bad people multiply, the good people should come out. They should rally. They should not shy away. We have to do this, and we have to say this until the good will prevail over the evil. So thank you for everything, for putting your face and your everything on the line for us and for Africa. And this is the spirit. I thank you, Punchline TV, and all your affiliates around the world. I thank you for everything that you are doing. One day, we shall give you the honorary citizenship of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, not too long from now. And we shall be in Buea, our capital city, and we shall hold hands and celebrate the triumph of freedom and the triumph of the good over the evil. Stand with us. Let the good people continue to stand with us so that we can do what we have to do to secure that which is ours. We are not begging it. We are not trying to steal it. We are not trying to expropriate it from somebody. It is ours. If the good people will arise like one man, we shall get what is ours without bloodshed. There is too much bloodshed already going on. This can be stopped if the good people will arise in the United Nations, in the African Union, in the EU, in the United States, and in organizations like Punchline TV around the world. If the Western media decide to be quiet because it's none of their interest, Africa is our interest. It's our common interest. Therefore, let us arise. When Mandela was in prison, I was still a kid in school. I remember we were singing songs of freedom. I remember we were giving our own penny to support the ANC when the whole world was trying to construct them in another way, in another light. Let the good people stand up and let's do the right thing. Southern Cameroon, the Federal Republic of Amazonia, shall be free because this is right, even in the eyes of God. Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. You are a hero in Africa.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. All the viewers, wherever you are, in China, in North America, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, in the Commonwealth Games, thank you very much. We shall be in the Commonwealth. By the way, Mr. President, before you go, we shall be in the CHOGM conference next week. The Commonwealth heads of state will be meeting in London next week. And most of the people who are lobbying the Commonwealth will be in that place. As a member of the Commonwealth Journalists Association, where I belonged for almost 22 years, I will voice out all these, atrocities about Amazonia. I will not hesitate to tell the world, and I am very good at delivery, tell the world exactly what is happening in Amazonia. So the heads of state in London will get your message. I have already signaled to Patricia Scotland when she came to Kenya. I met her in Intercontinental Hotel. She's my friend from the Labour Party of the United Kingdom. And I told her, you must bring the question of Amazonia on top of your agenda. The English-speaking people are being killed while you are watching. These historical links between you and the people and the Commonwealth. So this matter is not going to stop here. It will go on, and it will come out again in London in the Commonwealth Heads of State that is taking shape from Monday up to 5 days in the capital city of the United Kingdom. Another thing that I would like to say to all Amazonians, that there is nothing that will shake us. All these small intelligence people of beer, tell them to go to Atlantic Ocean. We don't deal with such people who go on threatening people. They can threaten the people of Amazonia whom they are killing every day. Because I've seen some comments here from some of their supporters, most likely from the Cameroonian intelligence system, saying, oh, we are doing this, we shall do this. Come on, bring it on. But as we know, this is a free television station. We have talked nothing. We have talked laid facts. We are not calling upon people to go and kill each other. We are only struggling. The man is struggling for his freedom. And his freedom is to say, why can't Mr. Paul Biya change his manners and allow these people to say, allow even internet, only internet, allow medicine, allow them to send money to their homes, allow them to have treatment, allow them to have schools. Children are not going to school. And then you come and tell me, Biya will do what? What will Biya do? We have had Bokassa.
Doctor.
Yes.
Doctor, I was going to also add that these colonial soldiers, they are going to the hospitals and taking the wounded out of hospital to unknown places to slaughter them. A person has been shot. He has survived and is fighting for his life in hospital. They come, they raid the hospital, they pick them up, and they take them to slaughter them. This is what is happening now. I'm not making this up. Let the international community come there and go and see for themselves. There are still good people in this world. We cannot allow Rwanda to happen again.
Yes, and that is exactly the message under this television station. We have not refused anybody from Biya to call us. If you have anything, Mr. Biya, call and say, this is wrong. But they have all feared every day. They can't call because they are committing crimes of a very serious international nature, which the ICC and other agencies should go in to make sure that they pay for this type of heinous crimes that are being committed against the people of Amazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time when you don't become the only person in Jerusalem who does not know that Jesus has risen. We have spoken this and we have said this when Jesus has just risen a few days ago last week. we shall rise and shine again. Amazonia will rise and shine again. We want to thank all of you, the people of Amazonia. We want to thank you, Mr. President, acting president of the people of Amazonia, for the tenacity and of steadfastness that you have taken to lead the people in absence of your president, who is held incommunicado in the cells somewhere in the tropics of Africa. We want to also pray for him that we will one day get the freedom that he yearns for, to continue to struggle for the people of Amazonia. Yes. We want also to thank everybody who has contributed to this program and continue contributing to this program. We send in investigative journalists who cannot be touched, who can bring good reports from the ground, and we shall not be cowed down. We also want to ask that as we look at this, that this not be a West African issue, that not be a West African matter only, that this whole issue of Amazonia be an African concern. There are people in North Africa who don't know where Amazonia is. This is my television station wouldn't like to allow that. People in West Africa don't know where Mombasa is. We must use this to integrate. We must use this to defend ourselves as Africans, so that in tomorrow we are not ridiculed by the people who tell us to go and do the things that they are not supposed to do, so that they don't recolonize us. If you look at what is happening in South Africa, to divert 1 minute, Zuma is being brought back on trial. But Zuma was working with the French, together with the French. The same French are now working with another side to tell him to be brought on trial. Look at this type of politics. If the politics of Africa is going to be governed by the French DSGE system that has maimed the Central African Republic, that has maimed Democratic Republic of Congo, that has maimed several other African countries, that is trying to maim South Sudan. Amazonian people, the only thing we wish you is freedom. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for all your time. I think you can now go back to sleep or prepare to go and work. We have taken you out of your sleep, but in a struggle you can come at any time. Say hi to your family and say hi to everybody, and keep yourself well in the United States, wherever you are. On behalf of Africa, on behalf of Africa, this station is Africa, for Africa, by Africa, with Africa. Ciao.